Whether you are on an adventure or at the downtown cafe, your answers are no more than a sniff away. Dog Training 360's purpose is simple: to teach you why dogs do what they do, as well as the action steps you need to take to have better communication, connection, consistency, and conceivability with your dog. Today we're going to, we've been talking in the past about setting goals and what our goals were, and we talked a lot about what Shannon, you and I are going to do, and we actually have a third person in our crew that I want to introduce to everybody that's going to be a part of things this year, and her handle is Dog Training by Jessica, Dog Training 360 by Jessica. She's a part of the Dog Training 360 trainers, but it's a very independent type business. So I want to introduce Jessica. Jessica and I have known each other for, I was thinking, long time.
It's been a long time.
How old is Torque?
10,
Yeah.
10, 11?
Yeah.
10, 11 years.
Yeah. Where it all started, and it's finally come full circle, and it's just fun to be training dogs with you.
Yes.
One thing that I think is hard for anybody is to, I think as you're training dogs and you're working dogs, you don't really think about the impact that you have, or the kind of how good you are, because it just comes natural. And one thing that I tell people all the time, that Jessica, if we had a competition of training dogs, hands down, Jessica would beat me. Hands down,
No.
Jessica would beat me.
No.
And it's because Jessica comes from a completely different, not completely different, but just a different, her personal dog training journey has been completely different than what mine is. I've been down in her path before, and it's been a long time since I was there. So I do know that, hands down, Jessica could beat me in a competition of training dogs for sure. And I think it's pretty incredible. So Jess, I'm going to let you kind of take it away for a minute. And I want you to talk about who you are, what your dog training journey has been, and just your philosophy on dogs and dog training. And tell us a little bit about your personal life.
Oh, I feel it's a long story on my dog journey. I don't even know where to start.
What do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun? Well, for fun, I ride my horse. I don't. This is not
You're
good.
kind of a country city girl.
I am. Yeah, we do gardening occasionally at the house, and do a lot of camping, four-wheeling, and when we feed the horses, we get to take the four-wheeler out with the sled, and the kids get to be pulled around on it. Mm-hmm. So they really enjoy that. Trying to think what else do I do for fun. We go trail riding. Mm-hmm. God, I feel like my life's just been really busy lately. Like, what do I do for fun? Yeah, right now that's kind of where it's at. Used to, during the winter, play some video games, just because you can't do anything outside, so entertain yourself with some.
I think that's a fun thing about Jessica, because I would have never guessed.
She plays a lot of video games. Yeah, she's really, really into video games.
Zelda, Call of Duty.
It's pretty fun.
Not just play a little, like an avid gamer here.
Well, and Zelda has a horse in it. I think that's what attracted me first to it. It's a lot of fun.
And you should get onto The Walking Dead. Chris completed the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
So, tell us about what dogs do you have? You personally know.
I personally own 2 Shepherds at this moment. I think I've owned Shepherds my whole life. Right now I have Zuri, who is a Checkline Shepherd. She just turned 8 years old in October. she's been retired from competition for about a year. I don't think the house life really suits her. She's like, I don't know what to do with this. It's confusing. Yeah. But I did a protection sport with her called frontering, and that was quite the challenge with her, but it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot about myself through it all. And then I have Mac, who is, I want to say, a little over a year old. And I got into fostering. I don't know how that even happened, but he was the first dog I fostered, and then he just kind of fit with the kids, and so we adopted him, and then I stopped fostering because I don't have room for any more dogs but 2. So this moment anyway. Yeah. This moment. So
what's your dog training philosophy, Jess? Maybe let's do this. Talk to me about what your opinion is about clicker training and positive reinforcement.
I don't do clicker training. I can't manage the whole, like, I don't know. I can't do the whole click and treat and get that done right. But positive reinforcement, I use it.
Yeah.
So it's a part of the training programs, and it has its place. So.
You do it with every dog?
I want to say, yeah, I do. Yeah.
And what's your philosophy on correction?
I use it.
Okay. And what's your opinion on it?
Well, I feel like it needs to meet the level that the dog is at, where it has to meet, like, how to explain past the level of where the dog's at. Like the amount of pressure or stumping on the...
So you'll use correction based on what the dog is giving you.
Yes. Yeah.
And so if, after you've gone through the positive reinforcement and food part of it, then you go into some discipline after you know that the dog is clear about what your expectations are.
Yes.
And when we say discipline, is it a yank? Is it a hit? Is it a pressure on the leash? Is it what does that look like?
It's a pressure with a leash. So if it was for like a sit, or it would be a pressure up on it. And if they have a flat collar, then it would pressure up on the bottom of their neck.
So it doesn't really matter if you're using any kind of corrective collar and leash. It's more about the amount of pressure that you apply to get there. And so, I think one of the hard things that people get into is when they hear correction or discipline, or that you automatically go to this fierce thing, because society has taken us to such a positive, make everybody feel good. Life is, should never be dealt with aggression. And so that's how in the dog community that, they have deemed, being mean is disciplining your dogs or correcting your dogs. And something that I truly believe in is there needs to be discipline. There needs to be correction. There does not need to be hitting and beating and, aggression.
Because a correction can just be as simple as telling your dog no.
Right.
Like if they're start to do, I do that with Louis all the time. I can see him start to do something I don't want him to do, and I just say, no. Yeah. We're not doing that right now.
Yep.
Oh, we're not? Okay. Then we go back to whatever.
Right.
That's a correction.
Yeah.
And it's not mean, and it's not harsh,
but
it stops the dog from doing something naughty.
Yeah. And I think we can get hung up in, like, do I talk about correction? And, I'm not shy about it. Like, I believe in correction. I believe that the instant you put a collar on a dog, it's correcting. Period. Whatever collar you have on it is now a form of discipline. So just talk about when you're competing or you're getting ready to compete with Zuri in the past and prepping for all of that. What was her level of discipline? Because that's an intense, gosh, somebody might get bit sport.
Yeah.
And so talk about your, what did your level of correction look like in that scenario? Because we teach them to turn on, and then what if she doesn't turn off?
Are you talking about when we're doing bite work stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or even just when you're in obedience and she's guarding, and then all of a sudden you can feel that shift in her that she's going to take a bite versus continue to stay connected and healed into you.
So I used an e-collar.
Mm-hmm.
We started off, we obviously start off low and then we build up on tools.
Yeah.
So start on a flat. We move up to a prong. The prong's not doing anything because she's at such a high level of
stimulation.
Yeah, of stimulation. And then it's okay. Well, then we're just going to move up to a e-collar, a shock collar.
Yep.
So we're on a shock collar on top of a flat collar with a leash
mm-hmm.
because sometimes she's so high up there that the e-collar is not doing anything.
Yeah.
So she goes to break off. But she gets a no, a
mm-hmm.
pretty harsh, I get kind of loud.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then it's whatever she's supposed to be doing.
Right.
So whether it's a bye-bye and she's walking backwards next to me or in a heel or down.
Yep.
I can get pretty fierce out on the field.
Yeah.
So when you're practicing bite work.
Yep. I think that's something that you have as an advantage to a lot of trainers out there is that when you see aggression in just everyday pet dogs, you're really good at kind of shutting it down, not in any fierce way. It's just you have no reaction to it, and you redirect really well because that's where you come from, and so there's no fear versus if you have a positive reinforcement dog that has just taken advantage of everything and then they come into us, you kind of have to shift gears a little bit because mm-hmm. Everybody's been afraid of them.
Yep.
And I think that's, you get a lot further because you just, there's no fear because you've been on both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah.
You've trained in it, and you've trained where you're teaching these dogs that aggression is good. That's fine. But now we just need to control it.
Yep.
And I haven't been in that world in a very, very, very long time. So it's just such a different look, it's a different feel for me versus you. And I think that's something in your training style that a lot of people can learn from, is just not giving it a whole lot of energy and accepting it for what it is, and then channeling it and controlling it and then changing gears with it. So,
yep.
Jess, what else if you were to say anything to dog owners, what would be your dog trainer's advice to them?
Connect with them. Just on some level, connect with your dog. I think it just, I don't know. From my own experience and having that, it's like I feel like everyone should have some type of level of that with their dog. Mm-hmm. And I just think it makes everything kind of a little bit smoother overall in their lives.
Yeah. I think one thing, just a little bit of background, our horses are up at Jessica's house, and something that I've seen that I think that maybe something that a lot of parents could take on is when your kids are out working and playing with Mac. He's kind of their dog. He's on their level, and they have a lot of fun with them. And you've had some pretty fun social media posts with the kids out there putting Mac in a sled and playing with him. But the one thing that I noticed that sometimes we forget as parents is you stay on top of it pretty good. You give them some leeway, but you also don't let the dog take advantage of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But you also don't allow the kids to create bad habits.
Yep.
And when they let that happen, you shut it down pretty quickly, and have them go put the dog away and reset, and that's something that, well, we got the dog for the kids, and we just let them do their thing, and then it's a nightmare because we as adults have to be accountable for what the dog is doing as well as what the kids are doing with the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's from a client's perspective and hiring you. You have the everyday life with the kids and the dogs, and your kids are very well behaved around. You put them around some pretty aggressive dogs, and they're handling it really well.
I don't know, Clara's making me question if I... Lately, it's like, oh, how are you? To every dog that's coming through the house, even if I say just...
Yeah.
I have to go physically remove her, but...
Yeah. And I think that's part of the game, right? She gets out with the horses, and you have to be in the middle of it too. So,
yep.
I think that just having that experience and having young kids at home, I've had young kids at home and the dogs and stuff, but when you're not in it every day, sometimes your brain doesn't. You're like, gosh, how did I handle that?
Yeah.
No, I just put them all away. Those don't talk about it, and and so one, you're in that mix of being a mom, running a business, having dogs, having horses, being a wife, and you still manage to get your dogs trained and worked with. And I think that that's a huge asset for anybody out there looking for a dog trainer. Is I think if we look at the general population of dog trainers, they're either single or they don't have kids. Or it's the husband that's doing the business. And so I think, and nothing to any of that. It's just, man, when you want to connect with somebody that has to deal with it all, and that your shoulders have to be wide enough to deal with it, you have a lot that you do, and you don't even think about it. I don't even think you realize, what an outsider looks in and goes, I go up there and disrupt your life with the horses. Come on, Jess, come and ride. And you're like, oh, I got the horse is done. I got a kid. And I'm like, come on the horse, and obviously my daughter that, comes up and fiddles around. And so it just, you have a lot that you take on, and you still manage to get dogs trained. And you still manage to get yours trained. And I think that there's a lot of people that can relate and that should relate to you in what your life is like, and really feed off of your calmness and your really it doesn't matter attitude overall. That you just do it, and it's not a big dramatic thing about it. And that a lot of people should be able to relate to you because your life is full. It's really full. It's a lot.
Or if we have injuries on animals.
Yep.
Goats and the horses, and it's
You're a rock star and a phenomenal trainer, and Jess really fits into the Dog Training 360 philosophies and where we're headed this year. And she's going to get into herding stuff too with us as we go along.
So
I'm building it.
I'm so excited.
So it'll be a really fun journey, but anybody questioning or wondering about Jessica and how she fits into things and can we trust her? Jessica is really a caregiver of my animals and and life, and she definitely fits into if I could say anybody fits the closest into becoming Joe, it would be Jessica in a much calmer way.
Thanks.
I love Jessica. We've known each other for quite a long time.
We have.
At least as long as I've had Louie.
Yeah.
And really, Jessica is just the caretaker of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just not as caring a person, I think, as Jessica. So really, like, I'm here working on the computer and thinking up crazy ideas and stuff. And Jessica's the one's that's like, are we all okay? Are we all going to be able to get this done? Do we need to go? You know, so she really takes care of all of us. Yeah. You know, even, but I think she's good for people that we have a lot of clients that have families, that have a lot of kids, and then they add the dog, and then they feel overwhelmed. Yeah. And I think that they can find strength in working with Jessica because she has all of this stuff that she's doing all the time, all of her kids and her own dogs and other people's dogs that she's now training, you know, that she can say, you can do it, and you can believe it because Jessica does it every day. You know, she's training her own dogs and taking care of her own kids and taking care of everyone else's dogs and taking care of me and Joe and the horses and the goats. And, you know, so when she says, you know, I know this is hard, there's a lot of stuff, but you can do it. Yeah. She has done it, and you can believe that she can help you to know how to balance all that stuff because she does it every day. Yeah. So she's a super amazing person. I love to work with her every day.
Thanks, Shannon.
Hey, so we just wanted to bring Jess into it. She'll be podcasting with us weekly from here on out, but I think it's just kind of fun to get to know who the newcomer, who's the old timer, but newcomer.
Old, really
old and new. Old and new.
Yep.
I had some growing still left to do.
Oh, we all do. We all do. In some way, shape, or form, we all do. So
that's true.
I think it's good to introduce and carry on this journey with us.